All right, everybody, this will be a warning to all politicians. I'm running for president 2024, part 78, I believe. I was talking about socialism and labor laws and stuff, so I wanted to recap on that. I still didn't look up and see what the federal minimum wage was, but like I gave an example, you know, whatever it is, say it's like $13 an hour, you'd have for different categories under the hourly labor laws and stuff. For part-time, say, you know, you'd make minimum wage like $13 an hour or whatever, and then after 30 days you got a raise of $1 an hour, and then they also paid like $1 an hour into your medical and into your retirement. Those would be like locked accounts. I went over how banks would handle these accounts. You'd have like your regular savings and checking, then you'd have your medical, your retirement, your tax account, even a burial account. So much would be put away out of each check towards all the basic or fundamental things in life. So, but the numbers, like I put out, like, you know, $1 an hour for this, $1 an hour for that, those are just putting it out there for examples. It might be, you know, like $1 for one and 50 cents an hour to another, or 50 cents an hour to both, or whatever. You know, taxes would be cut for, you know, small business owners and stuff like this to help offset. But then, you know, a lot of stuff is going to be offset because the prices of things will have to go up to pay for all this, and maybe depending on what your employer does, you know, might not be able to raise prices enough to cover that. So we'd have to take a more in-depth look at tax structures and what the actual labor rates and stuff like that would be. But I'm just getting the idea out there so you can kind of understand the concept that our labor laws and stuff are pretty antiquated. You know, we need to have like more choice, more options, you know, for people and employers. And also, you know, Mexico would be made to have to put in some labor laws and an hourly wage and stuff like this, because it does no good on the immigration side for us to be paying people better and Mexico not to be paying squat and all their people coming here to work, and or our corporations going down there to hire cheaper labor. So there'd be things done there. Like I said, another idea is you only pay income taxes between the ages of 24 and 64, unless you make over a certain amount. We'd look into that, and maybe even under those circumstances, maybe everybody pays at least like 1% or 2%, because I think we should get rid of state sales taxes, because those directly affect a larger portion of the population than affects rich people. You know, instead of jacking the tax rate on people who are wealthy and stuff to these outrageously high 70%, even here 90%, stuff like this, that's just ridiculous. And trying to raise corporate taxes and all this, you know, like I've said before, you got to think of money like blood in your body. It's got to circulate. If it circulates, no blockages, nothing's soaking up too much of it, everything will be working fine. But you know, we would get a lot of the ridiculous loopholes that make it very unfair for the rich and stuff. You know, I think Trump has tried to do some of that, you know, where they take money offshore and, you know, to avoid paying taxes and stuff like that. But I think with a better tax code, they would be more or less apt to do that. And I think if we reduce our military budget, and have a more focused strategy with our military, instead of everything under the sun and money for every country under the sun, giving them military aid and everything like this, I think we can reduce our tax burden greatly, put that money towards things we need, like better schools and pay for teachers and stuff. I think giving like things that are people who are who can be a benefit to society, like a 1 or 2% difference, you know, tax break, you know, for police officers, firemen, teachers, things like this, nurses and stuff, to make it a little easier on them, instead of looking for raises all the time. Because let's face it, you know, you're in a certain tax bracket, you get a raise, part of that raise is chewed up by that. Just goes back in taxes, whatever. You pay labor too much, and then the prices just go up in all the stores and everything. Corporations might be able to afford, you know, like say something like Target or something like that. You know, if they have to give everybody $1 an hour raise or something like that, well, with all the products they sell and everything, they can spread that cost out a wide variety of ways. And you know, but the small business owner, small manufacturer, you know, you have to understand, you know, if the raw materials people, they get a raise, right? So when they sell their product to the small manufacturer, there's going to be an increase there. The small manufacturer, he's got to pay his employees, or she's got to pay her employees more, so it's going to make the cost of the goods go up even more there. And then they finally, you know, they ship it and everything. Well, the trucking company and all this has employees. Their costs are going to go up, so it's going to make the product go up even more. And then it gets to the retail, they got their employees, and it's going to go up even more. So, you know, you can look at it as you're going to be making more money, but then you know, you're going to have a higher cost of living, stuff like that. That was a Smokey and the Bandit trailer that went by, I think. Pretty sure. Anyhow, so people need to have these things in their heads before they just, you know, shout out, hey, we're going to tax everybody this much, or we're going to jack the minimum wage up this much. And you gotta look at things in a practical way, and, you know, maybe take some baby steps and not pull the rug out from under everybody, but, you know, maybe adjust it just a little bit and look and see what that does to the numbers, and listen to the people who run businesses and stuff, and see what their concerns are, what it's going to do to them, you know. So, but I just wanted to get those concepts out there, and you know, reduce our federal tax burden. And like, even though I say get rid of the states, the sales tax, and get rid of property taxes, you know, say you paid property tax on your house, you know, your mortgage, you paid your mortgage off, or you paid property tax the whole time, you know, that should be good enough. Unless you sell the house, then the next person who moves in there, they can pay into the community. The reasoning behind that, like I said in one of the earlier videos, was I saw a thing back east, I think it was Massachusetts or somewhere, where the news had a story on where some elderly lady, like in her 80s and maybe 90s, was out sweeping sidewalks to pay off her property tax for the city, and the mayor was all proud of it. You know, we're not going to take her home. We're going to allow her to pay her tax bill by doing some labor for the city. And it's like, really? She probably paid property tax in all those years, and you know, she might have served, or her family might have served the country, and this and that. And there's your thanks. Get out there, sweep the sidewalks, Granny, or we're going to take your house. That's a fine how do you do, ain't it? So there's a lot of things we got to look at that people don't usually think about. That we gotta say, look here, this ain't set up right, and it's become normal to us. We don't think, well, this is just normal. We don't think about it. But when you think about it, how much you pay in sales tax and everything, and it's all percentage based. The price of goods go up. The state gets a sales tax increase automatically. If it's percentage based, you know, they're not coming. They're supposed to, you know, discuss raising taxes and stuff, and have open dialogue about it. But every time the price of goods goes up, they automatically get an increase because the sales tax is percentage based. You know, and then once in a while they'll pop out and say, well, we need to raise it from 6.5 to 7 or 7.5, and you know, and on up. So when you add it all up, your federal, your state, your sales tax, your property tax, and you know, business taxes, all this stuff, we're taxed to death in this country. And I think it would do the economy a lot of good, do people a lot of good if we could reduce those taxes, get rid of a lot of the unnecessary things in welfare and food stamps and all this other stuff, and quit giving money away in foreign aid as much as we do, and instruct kids in school too about economics, and hey, you got to be responsible for yourself. And parents need to start teaching it. You got to be responsible for yourself. Like I said before, I don't know where you people get all this white privilege stuff from, other than it's coming from rich white kids that go out there and tell me, yeah, they got white privilege. They never had to work hard for anything, or this and that. Everything's been handed to them, and this, you know, they're not taking into effect their fathers or mothers and grandmothers and grandfathers, you know, busted their asses and built some wealth into the family, and that's why, you know, they get to run around with their designer crap and don't worry about paying for school and all this, because somebody in their family busted their asses, built a business. So I wanted to go over that too, because a lot of these people say they want socialism and this and that, you know, that all the employees should be making the wealth that the business owners and stuff own, and all this, and put this out there. You know, people have no idea what it is to start a business, build a business, put your own money into it, your own time. Maybe you borrow money, you put all that effort into, you build a business. Let's say you're a guy, you can be a high school dropout, a graduate, or maybe even a junior college, community college graduate. It doesn't matter. Suppose you go to work for a guy, say it's plumbing or it's air conditioning, heating, whatever it is. You go to work, you learn the trade, you ask questions, this and that. You start buying some of your own tools and stuff, and then you buy your own truck, your own van, whatever it is. You know, put your name on the van, whatever. You get your business license, and you start, you know, going around getting business, advertising. You know, you do 24-hour emergency calls. Your call rate is a little cheaper starting out than the competitors, and you know, you've got no social life. You know, you're just working all the time trying to build this business. You get your name out there enough. Now, you know, you can hire somebody, because it's a little too much for you to be trying to do it by yourself 24/7. So, you know, during the day you got some guy, he's responsible. You know, he's got the van or the truck there from, like, you know, 6 to 2 in the afternoon, and you take over, and then, you know, you're both got on call, you know, for the emergency and after hours calls. You get enough money, you get a second van. So maybe you hire another guy. You're still building a business. Maybe even somewhere during the line you get in trouble, you need some cash. Suppose you mortgage your house. Suppose you've been paying on a house. You refinance your house to keep your business afloat. You do all that stuff. Maybe then you hire another guy. So eventually, now say you're up to like a dozen vans and a dozen guys, or 2 dozen guys working for you. You got a little office, maybe a little warehouse type thing where you keep all the parts and stuff you're gonna need. Maybe even become a supplier for other plumbers or heating and air conditioning. And you've built it up, and you're finally 15, 20 years into it. You're where you can just kind of manage the whole thing, and go around and get business and go to trade shows and this and that, and learn the latest stuff, and then teach it to your guys. So you finally built it up. You're making $1 million a year. Let's say, no, even, yeah, well, 20 years, say $1 million, whatever it is, 500,000, $1 million. You've taken care of your employees pretty good. You haven't cheated them on anything. And all of a sudden they're like, hey, we want a slice of that pie. Some new guy just hires on. He comes in, he ain't never had no ambition for nothing, anything. He's drifted from job to job. All of a sudden, you he got a couple guys like him just walked in the door, started working for you, and they get this socialism crap going, and hey, it's not fair. You're making $1 million a year, and we're only making 60,000 or 70,000, whatever it is. Or even if they're making less, we're only making 40 or 50,000. It's not fair. We want a slice of that pie. We should all be making 100,000, 120,000. You shouldn't be making $1 million. You got to spread that around to us. Does that sound fair to you? Somebody's never done nothing in their life, never, people, business owners and stuff, usually don't have standard 40-hour weeks. They don't have a medical plan and all this and stuff for themselves. They're out there hustling, working hard, taking every job they can get, every contract they can get, trying to build a business, trying to find good people to work for them that aren't going to rip them off or screw the job up or piss the customer off, isn't going to show up to work drunk or stoned. Isn't going to be calling off all the time. Do you understand? People who own businesses, for the most part, have busted their asses, put their blood, sweat, and tears into it to try and make their lives better and the lives of their family better. And along the way, many of them, are committed to their communities. They go to church or their mosque or whatever it is. They're charitable. They give to their communities. And now you want to tell them, hey, You can't enjoy no fruits of your labor, Jack. You got to give it to me. I just walked in the door. I'm your new employee. You shouldn't have that money. Hey, CEO. Now, I understand a lot of CEOs get very unreal, especially when they failed at their jobs, unreal bonuses and all this types of stuff. But you take somebody that's worked for a company for most of their life and worked their way up, you know, started, and there's lots of stories of it out there, started at the bottom in the company, worked their way up through sales or whatever into middle management, you know, this and that and the other thing, made it up through the corporate offices and all that and everything. Very smart about the business, has always stayed on top of everything, and now they're up there, they're going to make, you know, 10 million, 20 million a year or whatever. I'm talking about a multi-billion dollar corporation here. I'm not, you know. No, you can't make that kind of money. Everybody at the bottom's got to make that money. Like I said, I do know there's some things wrong with capitalism. Some of the things Wall Street and politicians and stuff get away with advantages that aren't afforded to the average person to make extra streams of wealth and stuff. We'd look at those things, you know, how they bundle trades and this, and are able to you know, trade stocks with no money of their own, you know. And then you know, get away with all kinds of stuff when everything goes wrong. You know, they get bailed out and still make their bonuses and everything, like the last financial crisis, and average working people and stuff were losing their homes and all that kind of junk. That was unfair. You know, so we'd look into all these types of things. We'd work out the final numbers. Wouldn't just, you know, throw these outrageous numbers out there. You know, we're going to raise minimum wage $20 an hour, and we're going to tax people 70% in this, and we're going to have free this and free that. You're going to kill the economy. You're going to, you know, and that's like public housing and all this. Screw paying for it for year after year after year. You build nice places, people move in there, they get a, you know, a deal of a lifetime. Like I said before, one of the other ones, you're going to pay, you know, instead of a $1,500 a month mortgage payment, like, you know, the average person who goes out and buys a house, you're going to get a cheaper rate. It's going to be paid back to the state or to the Fed, however it'd be worked out. And instead of these tenements and housing projects where people have no vested interest in their future or the care of the property and this and that, you're going to give them ownership. Out of this, a 10-year deal, they're going to have a 10-year mortgage, paying $500 a month, whatever it is, to in these inner cities and stuff that need to be rebuilt. We're going to invest that way into these cities. You're going to make it more attractive for people to put their best foot forward, to take a vested interest in their own future and the future of their children. You're going to make that more attractive than you're going to make a life of crime. And this would not be a forever ongoing deal in America. This would, you know, this is, hey, here's these cities, here's all the rundown areas. We're going to go in, mass project, just like during the Depression when Roosevelt had them work programs. We're going to go in there, rebuild everything, get people situated. You're going to get police and school teachers and everything in on this deal too. Have a vested interest in their communities. And then after, you know, hey, it's a 20-year program. That's it. Whatever, 10-year program. Build as much as fast as we can. Quality work, quality things, well thought out, well planned. rebuild these areas, get the people who've lived in these areas the options first, and there'll be limitations as far as, what if you're a criminal and this type of stuff. You're not going to have an option on it, but you're going to give working people, poor people, a good chance to be vested so that their children don't grow up and lead a life of crime, this and that. And and then when the program's over, it's over. No more playing around. Everyone's got to know from the start in this country, it's sink or swim. You're responsible for yourself. I'm not responsible to pay an extreme amount of taxes. No one else is responsible to pay an extreme amount of taxes for your irresponsibility in society. Going out and having babies you can't afford, and then expecting welfare and everything while the father of the kids takes off. Hit it and quit it. Don't care about the babies left behind. There's going to be responsibility in a lot of things. A kid's born, the father's name is going to be on that birth certificate. There's going to be a paternity test too on all of them. So before welfare and all this other stuff is paid, guess what? He's going to pay. There's no freaking reason in the world. I didn't sign up for it. Nobody signed up for it. All these programs come in, hey, I'm a politician. I'm looking for votes. I got a great idea how I'm going to get votes. I'm going to offer all kinds of benefits to people who've been irresponsible with their lives, and I'm going to tax the shit out of the people who actually work and who are actually trying to pay for it. I'm not responsible for somebody else's babies. I'm not responsible because you spent the first half of your life like a stoned fool and going in and out of jail and all this and everything. Now, you expect state housing and welfare and all this and everything else. I'm not responsible even if you're incarcerated. I'm not responsible to pay for you to have 3 squares, free medical and everything while you're in prison. Your lawyer's fees. What the hell? It's hard enough at times just taking care of yourself and your own family, and now they want to burden America and put all these burdens on our backs to take care of people who don't give a shit about nothing. And now they want socialism. Now they want a piece of your pie that you busted your ass for. You got to give them. You got to give to them. You owe them. Nobody owes you nothing, Jack. You lazy son of a bitch. Go out there and work like the rest of us. Be smart with your money. Put some money away instead of, blowing your whole paycheck, buying booze and dope and whatever, or even material goods and this and that. Having to have the best of everything all the time mentality when you're on a lower income or a lower middle income, trying to live above your means. Better yourself first. Have a life plan. That's what I said. No taxes, no federal income tax until the age of 24. That way, if you're going to school or starting a family, this and that, and actually, you shouldn't even be starting a family before 24. You get out of high school, either you should be taking care of your schooling, or you should be taking care of your financial future, working and just investing and saving money and everything. So when you do get married, you have some resources. This stuff, teen pregnancies, and this country isn't set up for it. When families, when daughters, If you go to the Bible, once they had their period for so long, they're eligible to be married, when they're 15, 16, whatever. But their parents and their communities, it was more tribal and stuff back then. And someone who was 15 or 16 who was married and starting a family, this and that, and usually the girl was married to a man who was already well situated. It wasn't like two 16-year-olds going off and getting married. And they were usually arranged marriages, so the parents made sure that the man, was able to support the girl. So you can't say, well, they used to get married and stuff back in the day, when the people were younger, and it's not the same time. You can't be 16, 17, having kids. You've got no future for yourself. What kind of future are you going to offer? Oh, have another kid. Get more welfare. Get more welfare. You can't be doing that. You got to use those years from your late teens into your early 20s. Set yourself up. Get ready for life. All right. Wish you all the best out there. We'll do another one again there. Y'all take care. God bless. Adios.